You may have heard the news that Zoe Rosenberg, a 23-year-old woman and an activist from California, has been convicted of felony conspiracy and 3 misdemeanors for rescuing 4 chickens from a slaughterhouse. 4 little individuals who were going to be killed and abused. She rescued them and took them to safety, and now she's being treated almost like a terrorist or a murderer. She's facing up to 5 years in jail. And Zoe is one of the most gentle, caring examples of an activist you can imagine. If you go and look up her page, Zoe Rosenberg, she has done so many rescues, and the animals that she showers them in love and care. In this case, she rescued 4 chickens who were going to be killed. Their names were Poppy, Aster, Azalea and Ivy. And all of them were showing signs of abuse. They were packed into crates, they were covered in bruises and scratches, they had diarrhea all over them. Poppy had an infected toe. She got them the treatment they needed. Now remember, these birds who have been bred for the meat industry also will suffer the injuries of the meat industry that they've purposefully bred into them, like their lack of mobility as they age, the strain on their legs, the strain on their hearts. But Zoe went above and beyond to make sure these animals had a chance at a life where they could actually enjoy themselves after they've been in these hideous factory farms. And bear in mind, Purdue, who owned this plant, as they call it, slaughterhouse, they have had so many allegations of abuse against them, video evidence showing birds going into scalding, boiling tanks, showing disgusting neglect and cruelty towards these birds. That's been reported to Sonoma County over the course of the 5 years prior to Zoe doing this rescue. No action had been taken at all. And yet when she does the rescue, then they come down like a ton of bricks on her. It's like this huge, the biggest case ever. We have to crack down on this. Why? Because they need to keep it covered. They need to keep the whole of that sordid, disgusting industry covered up. And that's why they didn't allow Zoe to speak on why she did this, on the necessity of doing this. Why did she rescue those birds? Because what they were going to face was so much worse than taking the birds. We call it rescue, they would call it theft. The birds were going to face such horror that it was a lesser crime to rescue them. And in California, they have the right to rescue. So if I was to see a human who perhaps had a heart attack in their garden, and I was one to see them, I could trespass to help that person to call an ambulance and to start CPR. So you can do that. You could break a car window to rescue a child from a hot car. So these are the things that come under right to rescue and necessity. Well, Zoe was even stopped from arguing necessity because they said, you know, animals are not persons. And this reminds me of our Lakeland case when we tried to rescue hens who were starving and dehydrating to death, and who the RSPCA and police had been informed of 10 days prior and had taken no action. And when they were finally there, they told the farmer, Sean Stone, to get rid of them, send them to slaughter. And yet we were also told in court, whilst we were allowed to argue necessity, it was then dismissed because they said we didn't have enough of a connection to the hens. Like, you need to know someone personally to take action to help them, which is a load of rubbish. I think this is an incredible, unjust thing to happen, that Zoe wasn't even allowed to argue why she did this, and that this woman, who is no harm to society at all and is only trying to better society and the beautiful animals she cares for, and what, she's going to be locked up? Like, what a waste of resources. That is disgusting. Meanwhile, we have some of the biggest animal abusers running around with no prosecution at all, like Purdue, and everybody involved in that. And if we bring it back to Australia, we could talk about the piggery, Dublin Piggery in South Australia, who had some of the most horrific cruelty I've seen on video, and they're still able to keep pigs there. Like, it's ridiculous. What kind of world are we living in where some of the most gentle, beautiful people who are doing pure acts of compassion are the ones being treated as terrorists? This is the opposite way we need to be going. And I really feel for Zoe. She's got some big health complications going on, which she speaks openly about. She's got animals who she loves and cares for at her sanctuary. And she's now going to have to leave them behind. She's now got her ankle monitor on again, and she's going to be sentenced December the 3rd. So, I mean, what's happened is she's been prosecuted for having compassion, and that's the world we live in. And it even in the news reporting, I saw one news report that said she claims she rescued them. Well, she did. That's a fact. She rescued them. They were going to endure the most horrific day that you can imagine after already being in a factory farm where they were being tortured and abused. This is factory farming. This is the truth of it. And with people like Zoe and all the other activists she works with and here in Australia, that's the only way we know about this. And people are so reluctant to change, so reluctant to be kinder, that they'd rather send this woman to jail than even allow her to argue her case. So I just want to send so much love to Zoe. She's someone that I connected with when she was 11 years old, when she reached out to me on how she could rescue chickens. And she's just, even from then, I just got her determination, her courage, and her compassion. It just shone through. And this woman is someone I admire so much. She inspires me every single day with all the work she's done.